Welcome back to Studio F, where in Fast Times Willy B, we're celebrating Valentine's Day with a Rom Com Special. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
And girl bosses. Hit it, Russ.
Welcome back to Fast Times with Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Eliza on. Eliza, how we feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling in the Valentine's Day mood, Will.
Feeling the Valentine's Day mood. Got my Valentine's Day sweater on today for this episode. Just
nice.
Had to step out a little bit for it, but no, we're gonna talk some rom-coms today. You're obviously the rom-com queen.
Oh yes.
First person I had in mind when I wanted to do this special, and you're here. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it. I love hearing myself talk.
There you go. So what we're going to do today is we'll rate our top 5 rom-coms.
Okay.
And then we'll do most overrated, most underrated, and then our dream rom-com couple that we'd like to see on the big screen.
Okay.
So let's just jump right into the top 5. We'll start with number 5. What do you have as the 5th best rom-com of all time?
All right. This is going to be... Okay, I'm going to preface. Is this a good movie? No. Is it a fun movie? 110%.
Okay.
And that is 27 Dresses, starring Katherine Heigl. This woman has been a bridesmaid 27 different times, and she cannot get a man. Cannot get a man. But she is in love with her boss. But get this, you'll never guess. Her boss wants her sister, and her sister is... What words am I allowed to say on this podcast? Am I allowed to say, like, her sister...
You can say whatever you want.
Her sister is not nice. I'm going to keep you monetized.
There we go.
Her sister is not nice. Her sister takes that man from her.
Not cool.
Not cool
I actually
at
haven't
all.
seen this one. So
Really?
now I gotta anything that I haven't seen in your list, I will add to my watch list.
Okay.
So I will have it. I'll have it done before Valentine's Day to report back in.
You better letterbox that.
All right, I will. You know me. I'm the biggest Letterboxd advocate you'll ever meet.
Letterbox pro over here.
Big Letterboxd fan. So 27 Dresses. For me, this is where I got 500 Days of Summer. This was actually... I watched this for the first time last month because of the list you sent over to me.
Really?
So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. You know, fun cast. It was sad.
It is.
It was very sad. It gave me... It felt a lot like La La Land. How it kind of... At the end, you're just like, they don't get back together. But so I don't even know how it's considered a rom-com, but at the end of the day, it is. And it was fun. I liked it a lot. It's a roller coaster of emotions, but honestly, I enjoy movies more when they make you feel feelings.
Yes.
Like, a movie that you're just sitting there and you're watching, like, is one thing, but when a movie, like, makes you think and makes you ache, like...
Oh, yeah.
So, 500 Days of Summer was a tough watch at some moments, but I enjoyed it a lot.
It's kind of like more watered down and less sci-fi-esque Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my number 5. So let's move on to number 4. What do you got?
Okay, let's see. What do I have, Will? I have D.E.B.S. And at first I was kind of quick to write this movie off because I first saw it actually, fun fact for the audience, Will and I worked at a movie store together.
Yes.
And I remember I put this movie away one day and I saw the cover and it was just 4 girls in like keeping you monetized, interesting outfits. And I'm just like, this movie looks like it was panned for an audience that's gonna go home, has no girlfriends, gonna watch this. And then I like looked it up one day on Letterboxd. I'm like, oh, I gotta see what the girlies are saying about this. And someone said something to me that just really stuck out. They're like, this movie is by a woman and wholly for women. So, like, I gotta take a look at this. And it actually blew me away. I loved it so much. It's probably in my, like, top 100 favorite movies ever. It's basically about this woman. They're trained to be spies.
Okay.
And, like, the main villain, her name is Lucy Diamond.
Oh, there's a main villain in
Oh,
this
yeah,
movie.
she's a villain.
Okay.
And her name is Lucy Diamond. And Amy is she's kind of like awkward. She like wants to go to art school. She's not sure she wants to be a spy.
Yeah.
And she meets Lucy Diamond and they fall in love.
Okay.
And then so she gets kidnapped by Lucy Diamond. Spoiler alert for this movie that came out 15 years ago.
Oh, we got a spoiler alert on the video already.
At this point, it's been 15 years. You're fine.
Yeah. Just don't spoil The Godfather for anybody. But
And then they fall in love and she gets kidnapped, and then they, like, send, like, a whole team in to find her, and then my favorite quote from the movie is, like, we send, like, a national manhunt to find you, and you've been boning the villain this whole time. When they find her, yeah, it's a good movie. I really like it.
I actually have never heard of this one, so another one, obviously, I'll add to my watch list, but you gotta love it when the exchange leads you to something, right?
Oh, for sure.
When it has, you know, a redeeming quality. But
it's a big 2000s camp. We love to see the diverse, we love to see, like, the queer rom-coms. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give that one a watch as well. For me, again, I prefaced this to you before we started rolling. I feel like my top 5 is the rom-com starter pack. Like,
you know what? That's fine.
There's not a lot of originality behind my top 5. It's just the ones that everybody loves, and I love them too. 4, I got Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Steve Carell is fantastic. Obviously, as an Office fan, that's what intrigued me the first time I went and watched this. Ryan Gosling, also one of my favorites.
Oh.
Emma Stone's phenomenal. Just a wild ride with, you know, the babysitter loving the dad, the son loving the babysitter.
Yeah,
it's all over the place, but it's not only super funny, it's one of those movies where most of the comedy lands for me. And, you know, the romantic aspects are cool too. It's just, you know, again, like you said, a fun one. It's a fun one to watch.
Rom-coms are just genuinely fun like that. I don't think there's, like, too much brain power that's involved when you're watching them. That's why they're a good watch. Yeah.
I think the rom-coms that are not only fun, but have, like, the more realistic aspect to them are the ones that I tend to enjoy more. Which is funny because my number 3 isn't realistic at all, but Crazy Stupid Love is a movie that could happen.
I agree.
But I love it.
That's a good movie.
I actually think the first time I watched this was because I saw you watched it on Letter. Most of these might have been recommended by you in some facet.
It's okay. The list wasn't, like, that crazy either, so I'm pretty sure, like, if you were to ask literally anyone to make a rom-com list, they probably would have put, like, most.
Well, this one wasn't because of the list, but I think, like, I saw this 2 years ago when we all first got Letterboxd and, like, we're on that train. I think you or Dustin or somebody logged it, and I was like, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, sure. And I threw it on, and I loved it. So
yeah, good pick.
The exchange people always come through, you know. So let's go to our top 3. What do you got at number 3?
At number 3, I have a movie starring one of my favorite actresses ever, Miss Mia Goth, and another one of my favorite actresses ever, Miss Anya Taylor-Joy.
I love Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh, yeah. And then it's called Emma.
Okay.
All right, so this is actually a period piece. And I absolutely adore period pieces, so I love this, like, genre takeover. And off topic about this movie, it has some of the most amazing costume designs I've ever seen. The whole vibe is just so, like, lush and refreshing and green. So if you ever do a segment about costume designs, please hit me up. Okay. Because I will talk about this movie in particular.
Sounds good.
It's so wonderful. But, so basically, Emma is a socialite. She's, like, the cream of the crop. She's, like, so ahead of everyone else. But the thing is, she has some of the most annoying personality traits. She loves to meddle. She likes getting involved in people's lives. And she recently is getting involved in the life of her friend Harriet, played by Miss Mia Goth. Okay. And she wants to make her a lady. And what Mia Goth really wants is she wants to marry a farmer. But then Emma, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, is like, oh, no. Like, we're going to get you, like, a man of, like, society and of, like, high fashion, stuff like that, and, like, there's a bunch of, like, hijinks that ensue with that because the man she picks for him doesn't necessarily have the best intentions. Yeah. And all the while, her, like, a family friend of hers called Mr. Knightley, they always, like, fight, like, the whole, like, enemies to lovers slow burn, which I think is, like, so essential in rom-coms. I love that trope. And, like, she realized that Mr. Knightley loves her the whole time. And while she's like, I can't believe I ruined, like, Harriet's life, he goes, but I loved you this whole time. Yeah. And, like, she freaks out so bad that she gets a nosebleed. And there's, like, a scene where he, like, wipes away her nosebleed. And it's just like, oh, my God. Come on.
So cute.
And they're, like, in the garden. Yeah, it's such, like, it's like a lush movie. Like, I feel like I'm just walking into, like, a garden and just, like, watching the story take place. It's just such a beautifully shot movie.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, cinematography, honestly, can go a long way. So my number 3, like I said, it isn't realistic, but that's Groundhog Day. Actually, obviously, just watched this one recently for my Groundhog Day review on Groundhog's Day. But it's a classic. It's a classic. Bill Murray, he has that typical dry humor of his that, and sometimes doesn't land, but a lot in this movie lands for me. Obviously, it lands a lot in Ghostbusters for me. But I love Bill Murray. I love the concept of this film. Is it perfect? Not by any means, but it's a movie that, you know, you revisit every year. at this time. You know,
I've actually never seen it.
Really, it's. I don't want to spoil it because it's actually worth the watch.
I know he repeats his day over and over again.
Yeah. When Rosie and I reviewed this episode, the big question I had for her was if that happened to you, where your day just every day at 6:00 everything reset and you had to relive that day, what would you do?
It depends on what the day is.
Like if it's just a random day, like he obviously has Groundhog Day. What would you do? Like I said, I would start learning new skills. Because then once your day finally moves on, you have all of these new skills and only one day passed.
Well, would I age? Like, would I look
nope.
So I would stay young and
You'd
cool.
stay this until the day finally moves on, until you find love is basically.
Oh.
That's the rom part of the com.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Rosie said she would try to get away with a bunch of stuff, and that kind of scared me.
But, oh, that's actually a good one.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't kill anybody. I mean, they just reset the next day, but anything you do resets. Like if you rob a bank the next day, you have no legal issues and the money's back with the bank.
Darn it. I'd still want to keep the money. Actually, no, more wise if this gets on my future, if my future employers are watching that, I would not do that.
So that's why I said I would enhance skills, because that's the only thing that would stick with you.
Sure, I
think
I would try
skills.
to learn a language or something.
Yeah. I told her I'd learn how to play the piano and drums.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably do a language too. That'd be cool.
I'd probably just bake all day and get better.
Maybe learn a trade. There's a lot of money in plumbing.
Okay, Mario.
Yeah. Well, you got the mustache, but.
Then you have re-enroll in plumbing school every single day.
Yeah. Well, unless it's today and you can just keep watching YouTube videos.
Maybe.
If it's 93, yes, you got to keep going back to school. Yeah. But. I don't know.
Sure, I gotta think about that one.
It's a tough question, but that'll take us to number 2. What do you got in the second spot?
Second spot. All right, I got 13 going on 30.
13 going on 30. This one just missed out on my top 5.
Really?
I do really enjoy 13 going on 30.
This one makes me cry. It sounds really stupid, but when I just watch it and you see the look on Jenna's face when she realizes that she's lost her youth, she's lost her innocence, she's become someone that she doesn't know, and she realizes this whole time she's been in love with her best friend.
Yeah.
That just always makes me cry when I see this movie. First of all, it looks like she's just a whole Polly Pocket the whole movie. I love the costume designing again.
Yeah.
But I just think it's one of those movies, you said, circling back to 500 Days. It makes me feel something because he goes, I can't, he's I can't marry you. And she, realizes that, the popularity and, wanting to, dwindle away her youth, wanting to dwindle away, what makes her herself.
Yeah.
It just, what was that for? She's a horrible person now.
Yeah. I love Mark Ruffalo.
Okay.
I think Mark Ruffalo's extremely underrated when it comes to Hollywood. So obviously him being in this movie is a plus. But 13 going on 30 is one I watched early high school for the first time by myself for some reason. I was like, oh sure, we'll throw it on, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
Uh-huh.
You get the talking heads at the beginning. I love that when he's dancing and to the watch out, don't. Until the party's over. The song that plays in 13 going on 30.
Okay.
Love that song, so that obviously hooked me from the beginning. But like you said, thinking about it more, it is sad.
It is.
To lose 17 years of your life would be kind of insane.
And then she realizes, in that moment, I think that's, you can see the realization because she realizes, if she were to continue going down this path, no matter how much of a redemption arc she made, what she did was the past. That was 17 years of what she did. She fixed it in, a month, okay?
When she could have just 17 years ago dated Maddie,
Yeah, 17 years ago, she could have realized that, being Jenna was 13, or was 30, and Fred. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Yeah.
But, 13 going on 30 is great.
Mm-hmm.
Just missed my top 5. It's probably 6 or 7 if I had to keep expanding out the list. But for my number 2, this is another classic, early 90s, and that's When Harry Met Sally. You got Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. Obviously, Meg Ryan is one of the rom-com queens.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a rom-com without Meg Ryan, but Billy Crystal, Rosie and I watched this together, and she couldn't get behind it because all she heard was Mike Wazowski. But I was trying to tell her this came before Monsters, Inc. But this was a movie that, the story's great. It's funny. It's also romantic. It has sad elements to it. but it's just a vibe. The aesthetic is immaculate. I love the fall feel to it. It feels like fall threw up all over it, and it's honestly every year I watch this when fall starts beginning.
Oh, yeah.
When the leaves start turning and the weather gets a little bit chillier. This is a movie. It's a comfort movie. I throw it on, and When Harry Met Sally, and I love the scene in the diner where she fakes her orgasm and the old lady goes...
So we're not going for monetization?
No, it's okay. We're like 15 minutes in. But the old lady goes, I'll have what she's having. Like, that gets me every time. But it's a fun one. That's the moral of my list. They're all fun ones.
Yeah, this is a fun list. We're not...
You can't hate on a rom-com.
We're not going too crazy.
All right. What do you got in the top spot? What is the best rom-com of all time, according to Eliza?
My favorite rom-com ever is called But I'm a Cheerleader.
Okay.
The story follows this girl named Megan, played by the wonderful, I love her so much, Natasha Lyonne. She's like the stereotypical blonde teenager. She's a cheerleader, but she's a closet lesbian. And her family, friends, and boyfriend decide to send her to conversion therapy, where she meets Graham, who's also there alongside another, like a whole ensemble of other children in conversion therapy, just a bunch of like gay and lesbian children. And they are learning to be straight. And I think one of the best parts of this movie is the world was gifted the line of RuPaul himself saying, I myself was once a gay. I think that was the craziest line I think I've ever heard RuPaul say in my whole life.
Yeah.
And then along with most of the characters in this movie, they're just so exaggerated and stylized in this early, like, violently 90s fluorescence Barbie dream house.
Okay.
This type of thing. The color palette, though, is just so amazing.
Yeah.
I love how, like, when they're in the conversion camp, it's so, like, exaggerated, like, feminine and so exaggerated masculine. And besides making me laugh, one of my favorite moments in this movie is when Graham and Megan are trying to hide their burgeoning relationship and their, like, true sexualities because they are here because their parents want them to get better, and, like, obviously that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite moments in this film is when they're listening to the leader of the conversion camp talk, and then, like, Graham reaches over to Megan, and she has, like, this to her arm, and, like, they can't look at each other, but you can tell there's something between them because she, like, grabs her arm a little. I think that's such just, like, a powerful, like, and telling scene of, like, their relationship and how they have to keep it hidden. My only gripe with this movie is that I think it does romanticize conversion therapy and the trauma behind that just a little bit because children die from conversion therapy. Yeah. And, like, obviously you're probably not going to meet the love of your life in conversion therapy. I hate to, like, burst your bubble.
Yeah, that's fair.
It does harp on some stereotypes, but overall I think it's, like, a pretty solid film. I love it so much.
I'll definitely check it out. Like I said, I mean, I'll be checking out 4 of your 5 movies because I haven't seen them. But when you said conversion camp, I first thought of They/Them, and I was incredibly disappointed with that film.
Oh, no. I saw that. I saw that one. I didn't see it, but I saw...
It was bad. But for my number 1, this not only is my favorite rom-com of all time, this is just one of my favorite movies of all time. Okay. This, I guess you could call it a guilty pleasure if you want to, but that is 10 Things I Hate About You.
I knew it. You could not. I literally was thinking in the car, I'm like, Will's going to put 10 Things I Hate About You at the top of his list.
10 Things I Hate About You. This is every watch. So the first time I watched 10 Things I Hate About You was actually in high school with Rosie. We decided to throw it on. We watched it. Every watch after that, and I've probably watched it like 25, 30 times since high school. So in the last, decade, I've watched this movie twice a year almost. It's the same way every time. I'm going down to bed. I'm like, what's a good movie to throw on, that I can fall asleep to that I've seen a bunch? And 10 Things I Hate About You pops up first because it's a number in alphabetical order. So I'm like, oh, yeah. Runtime goes along. The entire movie's over. I'm still awake, and I'm like, God, I love this movie. So I don't know why I keep doing it, because it obviously doesn't help me sleep. I stay awake for it every single time. And that's the tell of a good movie, that you can watch it over and over, and it never gets old. This is, in my opinion, the perfect rom-com. I have no complaints in this. Heath Ledger is obviously fantastic, gone way too soon. I wish we could still see more stuff from him. The entire cast, realistically, Joseph Gordon-Levitt talking about Rom Com King, 500 Days of Summer, 10 Things I Hate About You.
I get him and Heath Ledger confused. I think they look so much alike. Maybe just because they're both like random, like the most like generic looking white men.
Yeah, and then Cassidy Stiles. I mean, she is.
Is it Julia Stiles?
Or Julia Stiles. Okay, yeah, Cassidy's the sister. Sorry, Julia Stiles. I can't say enough great things about her and Heath Ledger in this film. You almost feel like they're really in love the entire movie, And I mean, from the paintball scene to the singing in the bleachers, the Frankie Valli song, to her flashing the teacher to get him out of detention. It's just a wild ride. It's probably not the most feasible story.
Oh, for sure.
But it's my favorite.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
That's a solid pick, I'd say.
Yeah. 10 Things I Hate About You. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? that's the real question. Start with overrated. What is the most overrated rom-com in your opinion? Oh, I'm actually really excited to hear this.
This is gonna make the girlies mad. I think How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is a little boring. Okay. We all love Kate Hudson's iconic yellow dress, but is there anything else in that? We got Matthew McConaughey's forehead, which I was like not happy about. I was like, get that forehead out of here. We got Kate Hudson. She's cool. I can't say anything about her. Yeah. Like, that movie was boring. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I just couldn't get it. It just made me cringe too much. I get that's the whole point where she's supposed to be, like, the bad, like, girlfriend. Like, I'm trying to lose Matthew McConaughey in 10 days. How do I do that? Mm-hmm. But I was just like, I can't. I just could not get down with it. Okay. Solid 2 stars. I'm sorry. I know this is supposed to be...
Out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 5.
Okay.
I know this is supposed to be, like, rom-com, like, classic. And I wish it was, because I was really excited for this one when I first sat down to watch it. I was expecting so much because I love Carly Simon.
Yeah.
And she's, like, a big part of this movie, too. And there's, like, the iconic scene where, like, Kate Hudson... I forget the character. Actually, Andy. Andy's the girl's name. I forget Matthew McConaughey's character's name, if that is any indication of how much this film stuck out to me. But she's, like, singing... She's singing, You're So Vain in front of his house. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I love that song. Like, she looks so... Like, that yellow dress is just so iconic. And I was just, like... Fast forward. I'm like, can I just get to that scene so I can be done with this movie?
Yeah. For me, I'm scared to say it because I know you like this movie.
Oh.
It's You've Got Mail.
Really?
I watched this for the first time with my grandpa on vacation.
Oh.
And we were watching it, and, like, I don't think it's a bad movie. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 6 out of 10. It's just, I knew the hype behind it. I know how the critics feel about it, and to me, I thought it was a bit overrated. And the reason it's my most overrated is because, I'm not gonna lie, I tend to like rom-coms. So, like, it's hard to pick one because, like, I thought Bride Wars was a worse movie than this, but Bride Wars also isn't hyped up as much as You've Got Mail is.
If my friend were trying to marry Chris Pratt too, I would do everything in my power to stop her.
Yeah, it's got some good moments in it, but overall it was kind of a meh film. But yeah, for me it's You've Got Mail. I don't know, it didn't captivate me the entire runtime. For me it was just pacing issues. There were moments that were very dry, but I can see why people love it. It's technically a good movie, like, you know, subjectively, but just not for me. So what's your most underrated rom-com?
You've Got Mail.
Oh. Was that actually your pick before I said that? That's incredible. That's incredible.
Well, it's between You've Got Mail and About Time. But... you've said your gripes about You Got Mail. I just think it's cozy.
That's fair.
I love a good cozy movie.
Meg Ryan obviously is great. Tom Hanks did a good job too, but...
That movie, number one, reminds me of my aunt, because she really loves that movie.
Yeah.
And number two, I just feel like when I'm watching that movie, I'm in, like, a knit blanket, and I'm cozied up in my little bed, and I have, like, a warm glass of hot chocolate. That's how it feels. I
will say this. When I watched it, it did feel like a movie that had high nostalgia value if you saw it at a younger age. Mm-hmm. So I feel like me watching it for the first time at, 21, 22 might have hindered my experience a little bit. Because it feels like one of those movies that, like, grandma or your aunt would have popped in on the VHS back when you were a kid and threw on. So that might have hindered it for me. I don't know. But,
yeah, it's okay.
But for me, my most underrated of all time is The Breakup.
Really?
I don't think The Breakup's, anything earth-shattering. I think it's a really good movie. I love it. I'm a huge Vince Vaughn fan. I do love Jennifer Aniston as well. Obviously, as a Friends fan, Jennifer Aniston, anytime she's in something, I enjoy it for the most part. The Breakup, I love it so much because I feel like it's super relatable in the sense that Vince Vaughn does a lot of stupid things that I kind of, found myself doing in a relationship sometimes, like playing video games and not helping with the dishes, and then throwing a tantrum when you're asked to do the dishes. Mm-hmm. And then, there's a scene where Jennifer Aniston goes, "Why don't you ever take me on a date?" He goes, "I took you to the Notre Dame-Michigan game last year." Ugh. Vince Vaughn's a huge Notre Dame fan, so am I. So when he said that, I was like, oh, that's me.
I'm looking at Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn? You don't know who Vince Vaughn is?
He sounds familiar.
Wedding Crashers, which also I do got to give a disclaimer.
It's like a meatloaf.
I got to give a disclaimer. Wedding Crashers would have been right in front of When Harry Met Sally, but I feel like it's more of a pure comedy than a rom-com.
This is it. Oh, I mean, like, I'd take a shot with them. Not gonna lie.
Take a shot with him.
I'd take
He's
a
in
shot.
4 Christmases with Reese Witherspoon.
I'd take a shot with anyone, so I'm not gonna give him too much. But
That's fair. Vince Vaughn's the man. If you want a good Vince Vaughn movie that I actually think you'll like, Freaky.
Okay.
He's a serial killer and he switches bodies with a high schooler. So he's now a high school girl in his body. And then the high school girl is now the serial killer. And so, like, he's in high school, like, acting like... It's a really good movie. It's like Freaky Friday serial killer, though.
Nice.
So, check that out. It's actually, like, fairly new. I think it's, like, 5-ish years old. Maybe less than that. But I think you'd like that one. Not a rom-com, but... Gotta plug it since we're talking Vince Vaughn. The breakup.
If I were in Groundhog's Day, I would watch every Vince Vaughn movie so I could become a bigger Vince Vaughn fan than you, and I would go on this podcast and know everything about Vince Vaughn.
That is a good that's a good way to spend time. No, I mean, that's serious. Watching Vince Vaughn movies would be a great way to spend time, in my opinion. I would encourage you to do so. So now let's go to our dream couple. Who is the top duo that you'd love to see? It doesn't have to be boy girl. It could be whatever you want. Who is the top pair that you would love to see in a rom-com on the silver screen?
I got 2. I'm going crazy. Number 1, Michael Cera and Bjork.
Okay. There you go. I know you love Michael Cera. I love Michael Cera and Barbie.
Michael Cera and anyone, actually.
Michael Cera and anyone? Okay.
Michael Cera and anyone, but I think Bjork would be funny.
Okay.
Just we need like a singer energy in there, and we need like the crazy energy.
Yeah. Who's your second one?
I want Renee Rapp and any woman.
Renee Rapp and any woman. I did like Renee Rapp a lot in Mean Girls. I wasn't a fan of the movie overall, but I thought she was a great Regina George.
Mm-hmm. She's a wonderful singer. I need her in anything.
Yeah.
I love her.
Okay. For me, it hasn't been done in a movie.
Oh.
But the what we got from them in a TV show, that's not a rom-com. It's just it's a sci-fi horror TV show. Okay. The dynamic between these two, I feel like, would kill in a rom-com. Okay. And that's Joe Keery and Maya Hawke.
Really?
Yes, Joe Keery and Maya Hawke in a rom-com. I would be there day one. Yeah. If they had early screenings, I would be there.
Are you a Joe Keery? Is Joe Keery like your man crush? Like,
I would say I have a little bit of a man crush on Steve Harrington, but if I had to say, like, man crush, it's probably, honestly, Ryan Gosling.
Really?
I'm a big Gosling fan.
Okay.
Yeah, like, if I could be anybody, I'd be Ryan Gosling.
Really?
Yes, I love Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
I think every movie he's in is fantastic. He blew me away with Ken. Obviously, La La Land's fantastic, too.
So, like, if you were a woman, would you get with Ryan Gosling? Or, like, would you, like, currently in this body get with Ryan Gosling?
Wait, say that again?
If you were, like, would you, like, make out with Ryan Gosling in this body? Or, like, would you be like, no, I need to be a girl because you want to be, like, straight? Or would you be like, no, like, I would go, like, gay for, like, the 20-second make out with Ryan Gosling?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I've never been, like, attracted to a male like that, but Ryan Gosling's the man. I don't know. I'd love to hang out with Ryan Gosling for a day, that's for sure.
Would you make out with him if he had the bleached hair from the Barbie movie still?
The bleached hair. When I saw that, I asked Rosie if I could bleach my hair, and she said, hell no.
Why not?
See?
I think we should. Next episode, I'm bleaching Will's hair. And we're discussing the Barbie movie.
There we go. On Barbie Day.
On Barbie Day, I'm bleaching Will's hair.
For Barbie Day. Okay. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. I'm not opposed to it. Maybe some blonde highlights or something.
Why did we ask Rosie?
Why do you think? Do you think the blonde highlights would look good with the? I feel like blonde highlights.
I think blonde. I think we should go. I think you should go with blonde. You should I think
like
you should try blonde, it once. Yeah.
Maybe I will. But.
Would you make out with Michael Cera?
Probably not. I did love him as Alan though.
Cera Nation. We're going with Cera Nation. We lost. We lost.
Mo might. Scott Pilgrim.
Mo. That's like the most like incel Michael Cera movie, I had to say.
Ooh. There are a lot of people that love that movie.
It's fun. It's fun. But I've got to say, people are a little like crazy about that. Like,
yeah.
I think people they're like, oh, I need to be Ramona Flower, or like I need a Ramona Flower. That's not gonna happen to you.
When the other reason I picked Kieran Mihawk, by the way, too, is I feel like, you know, you said Renee Rapp because you love Renee Rapp. All of like the top Hollywood actresses that I think are, you know, gorgeous and all that, I don't think they do good in a rom-com.
Really?
Yeah, like I feel like Jenna Ortega and Anya Taylor. Well, Anya Taylor-Joy was in your rom-com. I didn't even know she was in a rom-com.
It's not. Yeah.
I feel like every role I've seen them in, like they're in a more serious role. So I'm like, I don't know if they do well in a rom-com. But now hearing that Anya Taylor-Joy was in a rom-com, I definitely.
It's a period piece rom-com.
I think Anya Taylor-Joy is one of the best actresses today.
I think Anya. Yeah, I agree. I think Anya Taylor-Joy is like, she has the face for a period piece.
For sure.
Do you know like, the term iPhone face?
No.
So iPhone face basically means, so when people are casting a movie that's not set in this time, someone put up two people. It was Madeline Klein and Elle Fanning, and there's an example of iPhone face. Like, which of these people are you going to put to be in, like, colonial England? You're not going to put Madeline Klein. She looks like she's from the 2020s.
That's fair.
You're going to put Elle Fanning because she looks like she could probably be from the 1700s.
Yeah, okay. I get it.
So I feel like Anya Taylor-Joy's got that more timeless face, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, that was a tough one, though. I was like, you know, Ryan Gosling would be somebody I'd love to see in a rom-com. We've seen that before. Like, I kind of wanted to be unique in mine, so.
Yeah.
Joe Keery and Mihawk. I know, like, I took it from Stranger Things, but their chemistry was awesome. Mm-hmm. So.
I need Michael Cera in a rom-com ASAP. It doesn't even have to be Bjork. I just thought, like, Bjork would be, like, a crazy thing.
We can write a rom-com, make it, and we'll cast him.
Oh, Michael Cera and Renee Rapp. No, Renee Rapp needs to be with a woman.
We'll tag Michael Cera on Twitter every day until he agrees to do our movie.
Okay. I need to be Michael Cera.
Thank you, Eliza, for coming on. It was great talking rom-coms with you. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there.
Happy Valentine's Day.
If you like what you're watching, check out some other videos. Hit the subscribe button. Social links down in the description below. And we will talk to you all soon. Thank you for watching. Peace.